Chapter 5, The First Indochina War. Welcome to Chapter 5 of Vietnam, A Journey Through History and Culture by ChatGPT and Video Geek Sparrow. In this chapter, we will delve into the turbulent and transformative period of the First Indochina War, a conflict that shaped the destiny of Vietnam and set the stage for the Vietnam War. The First Indochina War was a protracted armed struggle that took place from 1946 to 1954, pitting Vietnamese nationalists, led by the Viet Minh, against the French colonial forces. This war was a culmination of decades of resistance against French colonial rule and a determined effort by the Vietnamese to reclaim their independence. The war was marked by a complex web of political, military, and ideological dynamics. The Vietnamese nationalists, led by Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Minh, were driven by a deep sense of patriotism, fueled by their desire for self-determination and liberation from foreign domination. They drew inspiration from various sources, including Marxist-Leninist ideology and the ideals of nationalism. The French, on the other hand, sought to re-establish their control over Vietnam and preserve their colonial interests in Southeast Asia. They deployed significant military resources and employed both conventional and unconventional tactics to suppress the Vietnamese resistance. The war unfolded across the rugged terrain of Vietnam, with battles fought in dense jungles, mountainous regions, and bustling urban centers. The Vietnamese nationalists employed guerrilla warfare tactics, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and the support of local populations to wage a relentless campaign against the French. One of the most significant turning points in the First Indochina War was the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. In 1954, the Viet Minh launched a major offensive against the French stronghold in Dien Bien Phu, situated in the northwest of Vietnam. The battle lasted for several months and witnessed intense fighting, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. In a remarkable display of military strategy and resilience, the Viet Minh, under the leadership of General Vo Nguyen Giap, ultimately emerged victorious. The Battle of Dien Bien Phu dealt a severe blow to French morale and signaled a turning point in the war. It led to the signing of the Geneva Accords, which temporarily partitioned Vietnam along the 17th parallel. The Geneva Accords stipulated the withdrawal of French forces from Vietnam, while also calling for elections to be held in 1956 to determine the country's future. As part of the agreement, Vietnam was divided into two separate entities, the Communist-led Democratic Republic of Vietnam, North Vietnam, and the anti-communist state of Vietnam, South Vietnam. The aftermath of the First Indochina War set the stage for further conflict and division in Vietnam. The division along the 17th parallel, although intended as a temporary measure, would prove to be a lasting source of tension and instability. In the south, the state of Vietnam, supported by the United States, sought to establish a non-communist regime under President Ngo Dinh Diem. However, internal divisions, political repression, and a lack of popular support plagued the government, fueling dissent and resistance. Meanwhile, in the north, the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, led by Ho Chi Minh and the Vietnamese Communist Party, consolidated its power and pursued a path towards socialist transformation. The experiences of the First Indochina War and the deep-rooted desire for reunification fueled their determination to unite Vietnam under communist rule. The First Indochina War had far-reaching consequences beyond Vietnam's borders. It exposed the limits of Western colonialism, invigorated anti-colonial movements around the world, and intensified the Cold War rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. The conflict served as a precursor to the larger, more devastating Vietnam War that would engulf the region in the following decades. As we conclude this chapter, the First Indochina War stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of the Vietnamese people in their struggle for independence. It marked a pivotal moment in Vietnam's history, setting the stage for further conflicts and shaping the course of the nation's future. Join us in Chapter 6, The Vietnam War, where we will navigate the complex and controversial conflict that left an indelible mark on Vietnam and the global stage. Thank you for listening to Vietnam, A Journey Through History and Culture by ChatGPT and Video Geek Sparrow. Stay tuned for the next captivating chapter in our exploration of Vietnam's past.